Harry is a young man who travels during the summer to help sort through the belongings of his late grandmother. However, in the village, he meets several girls who help him learn more about himself and face the messes from his past life. We see a little boat approaching the island of Tishiroima. He's almost there, and outside stands a boy watching the seagulls, saying that it makes him a wounded migratory bird. Then, out of nowhere, an old lady shows up and asks who the wounded migratory bird is. The guy, totally baffled, says it's him because his heart is broken. Well, alright then, our emotional guy. Right after that, he thinks it's super weird to be talking to an old lady about his feelings and turns around to keep admiring the scenery. There, he sees a strange glowing butterfly that vanishes into thin air, and he spots a stunning waifu down at the port. Once he arrives at the dock, the guy takes a look at the island and comments that even though he's never been there, he feels a deep sense of nostalgia. And once again, the old lady pops up to ask what he said this time. The guy is already tired of her reading his thoughts, and she tells him that if he doesn't like it, he should stop thinking so loudly. He asks her if she's ever felt nostalgic for a place she's never been to. She answers that she has, and that it's called déjà vu. It's pretty common. Then she walks off because she's already annoyed with him. He continues walking through the town, which is charming and rustic, until he finally arrives at the house. There, he meets Misaki, who's been taking care of the house ever since the grandmother passed away. He introduces himself as Harry and tells her he'll be at her service during his vacation. Misaki takes him to his room, but it turns out to be an old storage room. She apologizes for the bad smell and the mess. Harry tells her it's perfect, that it matches his emotional state because he's a wounded migratory bird. Misaki's like, "What's up with this weirdo?" She tells him there's another family member living there too, but they're out right now, and she'll introduce them later. Harry plops down on the floor and remembers a time when he received a letter from his grandma, Kyuko, inviting him to visit the island. But the old lady died a month later, and since the house was a complete mess from all her travels, someone had to come tidy things up. So they sent the only jobless guy who goes around saying deep stuff. Him. The dude falls asleep and has a wet dream, but like, literally wet. He was drowning in a pool. When he wakes up, it's already getting dark. He's hungry and goes to see if Misaki can make him something, but she only has instant noodles. Since the guy's a bit picky and doesn't want to eat that, Misaki lends him her scooter so he can find food on his own. So he heads to a small diner in town and orders a happy meal. The cook gets to work, and after a while, serves him chicken soup with an egg. Harry, confused, says he ordered a happy meal, like at McDonald's, and the chef answers, "The chicken and the egg died together. That's happiness." A philosopher. That man. After eating, Harry decides to take a stroll around the island and do a bit of sightseeing. After walking for a while, he ends up at an elementary school and realizes he's totally lost. Suddenly, he hears something fall into the water. He sees a pool and walks in like he owns the place. As he gets closer, he notices there's a girl underwater, holding her breath for as long as she can. When she finally comes up, Harry realizes it's the same waifu he saw when he first arrived on the island. She asks who he is, and he tells her his name and asks for hers. The girl says her name is Shiroha and that she's practicing swimming. You can tell she feels uncomfortable, and honestly, who wouldn't? Imagine being a cute girl, all alone, in a bikini, and some random dude shows up trying to start a conversation. Yeah. Awkward. Harry tells her he got lost and is trying to find his way back to the Katu house. Shiroha asks if he means the Sakahara house. He corrects her, saying it's the Takahara house, but Shiroha confidently insists it's Sakahara. Harry tells her to just give him directions already. He notices he's making her uncomfortable, so he decides to leave. But before he goes, Shiroha does give him the directions to get back. Harry thanks her and asks what the heck she's doing swimming at night. He tells her it's dangerous. What if some pervy guy showed up to spy on her and start asking weird questions? Shiroha yells out, "Dosukoi!" Harry has no idea what that even means, but it's clear the girl's had enough, so she runs off without looking back. When he gets back to the house, Harry finds Misaki, who's resigned herself to eating her instant noodles because the jerk took her scooter and didn't even offer to bring her anything from the restaurant. She asks how it went. Harry says the food was great and then asks her what the heck dosukoi means. Misaki tells him to quit messing around. Harry apologizes, and she explains that's exactly what it means. Quit messing around. After that, Since Harry is super sharp, he starts to suspect that maybe, just maybe, he was bothering that girl after all. The next day, he gets woken up by a purple-haired girl who introduces herself as Umi, the other relative living there. Harry introduces himself too, and Umi lets him know breakfast is ready. She made fried rice, which throws Harry off a bit. Apparently, that's not your typical breakfast food.
Umi tells him she cooked it, and if he doesn't want it, he can just eat poop instead. That makes Harry reconsider, so he sits down and starts eating the rice. Surprisingly, it's really good. Honestly, it even looks delicious. After breakfast, it's time to divide up household chores, because no one lives for free around here. They set up a whiteboard with the days of the week and write down tasks like taking out the trash, washing dishes, doing laundry, and cleaning the rooms and bathrooms. To decide who does what, they play rock, paper, scissors. Umi loses every time and accuses Harry of cheating, but he tells her she's just terrible at the game. According to Harry, Umi makes different faces depending on what she's about to throw, so he can always guess what's coming. So, Umi decides to make the opposite face of the move she plans to play to throw him off, but she says her whole plan out loud. Apparently, no one in that family knows how to think silently. They play again, and Umi loses. She tries again, still thinking out loud, so there's no chance. Frustrated, she makes one last attempt using a totally blank poker face. And finally, she starts winning. Feeling triumphant, Umi says goodbye and runs off to play outside. Harry asks Misaki what chore he's supposed to do, but she tells him to take a break and help out later. For now, she suggests he explore the island and maybe meet someone interesting. Wink wink. Harry takes her advice and ends up finding a girl asleep under a tree. The scene feels super chill, with the ocean breeze and the shade of the tree. Next to the girl, there's a strange creature that looks like a mix between a fox, a cat, and an alien. Harry tries to figure out what it is, but right then, the girl starts to wobble and falls straight onto the grass. Harry jumps in to play the hero and tries to catch her, but ends up grabbing her chest. She wakes up to find a random guy casually groping her. Annoyed, she snaps at him, saying if he's going to take advantage, he should at least do it with more flair, and pushes him off. After the misunderstanding, things settle down. Harry explains everything that's happened so far to catch her up, and asks her not to be so aggressive with him. Of course, he still takes offense that she's suspicious of him. She replies, "What do you expect? I wake up and you're on top of me, grabbing my chest." He tries to justify himself, but she just asks him, "If you ever see me sleeping again, please keep your hands off my chest." Not too much to ask. Suddenly, the girl realizes it's already 2 in the afternoon and says she's late for work. She takes off running, accompanied by her weird pet, the fox cat alien named Inari. Harry checks the time and confirms it's true. It is 2 o'clock, and wonders how she knew that, since she wasn't even wearing a watch. Then he heads to a small dock to deliver one of his classic existential monologues out loud. Like always, he reflects that spending the summer in a new place might help him forget his problems. But just then, a wave crashes hard into the bay and soaks him completely, head to toe. Since we gotta give the ladies some fan service, he takes off his shirt and hangs it to dry on a makeshift clothesline tied to his bike. As he walks back home, he runs into another guy, also shirtless, casually strolling down the road. Harry stops him and asks who he is, but the guy only replies that he shouldn't be dressed like that, though it seems like he meant, "You shouldn't be so underdressed." Suddenly, a stream of water whizzes past Harry's cheek. The shirtless guy goes on high alert. They're being shot at out of nowhere, like suspects in an American cop show. From a watchtower, a girl armed with a water gun yells down at them that it's forbidden to walk around naked outside of the designated bathing area, and that they better get dressed or face the consequences. Harry is completely lost, and the other guy explains that they're in the middle of a naked people hunt. Without giving them any more time, the girl fires again, and the guy tells Harry to run for his life. Harry doesn't even hesitate. He spins around and bolts at full speed, leaving the poor other guy behind, soaked and on the ground. Back at the house, Umi sees him without his shirt and throws a comment. "You're really getting used to island life, huh? Walking around half naked already." Then she tells him a package arrived for him. Harry opens the box and finds an envelope with photos. Looking at them, he sees a picture of himself with his swim team. Umi asks if he was in the swim club, but Harry answers that no, actually, he was in the men's swimsuit club. Umi suspects that sounds made up and goes to ask Misaki if such a club exists. Obviously, Misaki tells her no, but when she gets back, Harry's already gone. Umi goes out to find him and sees him at the pool, where Shiroha is training. When she spots him again, Shiroha tries to scare him off, telling him not to bother her. But Harry just gives her a tip on how to improve her form, and then runs off. What a weirdo.